Welcome to Untitled Skill Modelling. This is part 24 of Hachette's HMS Hood Skill 1 to 200. Now before I start, I should say that I've actually now completed the build. So I'm just going through and doing the videos at the moment. So with that in mind, there's a lot I'm going to be skipping out on the videos. I want to try and make less videos because the build's getting on now with 24. So there may be one, possibly two after this. And jumping right into it now, as you can see, it's all items that I've placed on before. This is why I'm going to be cutting a lot out of it. If there's something new I think you should have a look at, then of course I'll show it. But for the most part, it's mostly repetitive work. So moving away from the deck furniture at the moment, it's time to start building up the aerial mast, and I'll be going on to the radar mast as well. As you would expect, there's various components to the mast, and it's just a matter of building it up as you go along on these things. The only thing you should know while doing these is some of the parts can be very thin, so when you're cutting them off with sprue, if you want your general plastic sprue, just be careful, as well as photo etched as well. These masts are quite detailed. Each one, for instance, a central part here, has a lot of photo etch involved, from ladders to dead eyes that sit on top of the platform. This is for the rigging for the dead eyes. On the main part of the mast, there's more photo etch, and these are pulleys for the rigging also. I found this quite difficult to attach, and in the end, when I went to rig it, there wasn't really enough room to pass the wire or cord through, so I just had to simulate it going through. It was a bit frustrating after all the work I spent on it, but I should have paid more attention to it really. I'm also placing the railings and things like that on now before it's in situ. It just makes it easier to handle at this stage. And once the two components were made up, it was just a case of marrying them together. Because of the type of plastic and the photo etch, it does take a little bit longer than normal for it to set. So I had to be quite patient here, waiting for it to bond together. The next section is made up much the same way, and this is more conventional mast now that you would find in a wooden ship. See the cross jibs here. So it's very similar to that. Next, for the top of the mast is the antennae. This is all made up of photo etch parts. A little bit tricky to get in placement. The instructions again weren't exactly clear. In fact, I should point out the instructions at this time, part of the build, are terrible. They've missed out a lot of steps along the way. One moment you'll be working on a step, go on to the next step, and the picture will say this is how it should look like that now, and there's 4 or 5 items on there that the instructions don't mention to place on. So I have to go back through all my other issues to make sure I haven't missed anything out, and I haven't. So I had to then go onto YouTube and see their official video to see how it was built. So it was all adding time to the build. So after another couple of photo etch parts added to the top of the mast, it was time to add the antenna. As you can see there, I'm just holding it with my tweezers in place. Now, I knocked this off so many times during the build. In retrospect, I should have put it on right at the end, but it was on. The contact points are quite small, that's why I kept on knocking it off. And then the main ladder goes on. This just goes right down the main stem of the mast. And then onto the supporting struts. Now the instructions, well, they do have instructions for these parts, gives you the length to cut them in. So I did that. Then I noticed on the video, they appear to be shorter on the video, and after lining it up, I discovered they did have to be shorter. So even though I'm fitting them here now, I had to take them off and shorten them. Luckily I noticed before the glue was set, or it would have been quite difficult to get these wooden dowels off. Each one has its own ladder as well, and actually the ladder didn't come to the base of the strut. That should have been a bit of a giveaway, if anything, that the measurements were wrong for these struts. But again, I double checked, and I did cut it to length as it suggested, but as I said, it was the wrong length. To paint the mast, I'm using Rebel Aquacolor 302 Silk Black, and this is just for the middle section of the mast. All the other colours are the main colour, which is the Rebel Aquacolor 43 Medium Grey. And that's the two sub-assembly parts made up, and it's just a matter of combining it all together to form the main aerial mast. Next is the radar system. There's two domes to make up here, each with different antennae attached on top. So you have this one just made colourful edge parts along the edge, and I like to call them horns, but I have no idea what they're actually called, but it's for the main radar system anyway. Switching my attention now to the main control tower. There's various things to make up here. As you can see there, the actual command post went to be assembled. What I'm assembling here is a copper rod, and it has loads of little dead eyes and cleats on it. And again, this is for the rigging. So it's just a simple case, placing them on the rod and cementing them in position. As I said, there's various elements to make up this tower. Each section is built in a sub-assembly part. This platform that I'm building now sits directly above the main control unit, and I quite enjoyed building this. It has a mixture of everything really, from your foot wedge to your plastic and metal rods. It was quite enjoyable to build, although it was time consuming and very fiddly work as well. But like the aerial mast, I'm just building all the handrails and everything on before it's all attached. However, because the foot wedge had varying degrees of quality, made the some of it quite difficult to do. This rod that I built up sits in between two location holes that rise up above the deck for the rigging. It was quite difficult to get in place and right, because the arms that hold it up are very thin, and the slightest little movement will bend them. And all these platforms are made up in the same way, so there's no point going over the same steps, as I said before. You know, so I'm just really showing you the finished sub-assembly part. There's a little bit of painting to be done, and I'm using 61 emerald green here, and also 31 fiery red, and these are just two little things on the main deck. I'm not really sure what they are, but they have a red and green colour to them. So I thought, while I'm here, I may as well put on the other furniture onto this part of the deck. Now the instructions say put it on later on, but I may as well put it on now. So these are just the sight mechanisms and some walls and things like that I've got to be going on. And I'll just carry on working around the main control unit, putting on these little pieces. Again, I'm using the colours emerald green and the fiery red colour for these two little vein things. Now the kit didn't actually have them. I had to scratch build these, but it was just a couple of strips of plastic cut in a triangular format and then placed on. Once I had most things on, it was time to put in the first base unit of the mast, and it just sits in this hole there. The two supporting struts, they go onto the side area of this deck, and they fit in this little cleat just at the side where my thumbs are. And then the next section goes on. You can see the hole there. My hand keeps on getting in the way, unfortunately. This is the nature of the build, but as you can see, it's just getting popped on there now. Next is the front section of the main control tower, and again it's a radar system. It just goes on top of it. This was pre-painted and built in an earlier video, and then it's time to put the whole unit onto the ship. Just test fitting here before I actually cement it into place. It actually fitted very well. Surprising because of the issues I've had with this build, but the main unit here just slotted right into place without any fuss. For the front part of the command tower, there's two flashes that I have to place on first of all. These are in a sort of obtuse rectangle shape. Now, I think you're meant to overlap these on the command tower, but I put them flush initially because that's how I thought they were meant to go. Again, the instructions weren't 100% clear. It wasn't until I was looking at the official video I noticed they actually stuck out a bit. So when I put on the main command tower, I did push them out slightly, but not as much as I saw on the official video. But I'm going to have to live with it. So you can see there, they're just slightly sticking out while I'm getting this into the proper location. Now we're starting on the second platform for the secondary funnel. As you can see, it's made up pretty much the same way as the first one, although smaller, obviously, because this is just having the funnel sitting on it, nothing else. The little V pieces you see here are cranes for lifting things like lifeboats and so on. So I'm just making them now, as well as putting in the pivot points on the turrets and so forth. So it's just a lot of prep again, getting ready to build the things onto the ship. So I'll end part 24 here while I'm just in the prep stage, getting everything ready. And the part 25 I'll start placing most things that I've prepped here onto the ship before I go into the rigging. So if you haven't done so already, why don't you check out the channel for the rest of my builds, including the series for this build. If you subscribe to the channel, you'll be notified of all my updates, including for this build as well. Hit that like button and of course leave a comment. But for now, thank you all very much for watching. Bye bye.